guys, welcome back to your Drunk Locals podcast. Today, we got a really special occasion going on. We're on site at the Galesburg Commerce Center with my brother right here, Kyle Kelley, and Mr. Ken Springer. How's it going, guys?
Good.
Awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks you for having me, because I wanted to talk about something that specifically like me and you have been struggling to do ever since we were like 16, 17. And that's become our own bosses and be an entrepreneur of sorts, if you'd say so. That's what you guys specialize in.
Yeah. I mean, we get really excited when other people make money.
It helps out. I like that. Who doesn't get excited about making a little bit of money, especially on their own, being their own boss? You know, we tried our production company.
Yeah.
Had no idea what we were doing at all, business-wise.
Yeah.
I think music-wise, we kind of...
It's a couple of teenage kids running around, shoving CDs and flyers in people's hands. And
you love that.
Called it a business, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but what is the definition of entrepreneur? I know a lot of people throw the term around a lot. What?
That's, you can go textbook if you want. But I mean, really an entrepreneur is somebody that has decided to make their own way in life by providing a product or a service that other people are willing to pay money for. I mean, I think when you boil it down to, it's
perfect.
Somebody's got to be willing to pay for what you're selling.
Exactly. What is the way of becoming a good entrepreneur though? Like everybody wants to sell something or do something or they think they have a gift that people are willing to.
Yeah, I think the number one thing, if I'm counseling or mentoring entrepreneurs that come in looking to start a business, is I want to see some sort of hustle from them, or the ambition that they're not necessarily on their last ropes as far as it goes, but they're starting to realize that maybe bouncing from job to job might not be their thing, or they're really it's all they want to do and all in their being to start their own business or be their own business owner. That's kind of the things that I look for.
Yeah. I think you're on the right track with that. Certainly somebody that wants to be an entrepreneur, they've got to know what it is they're selling. They've got to know what it is that their products.
Step one.
Yeah, step one.
Is.
And step two is, I mean, and I hate to say it because, you think that entrepreneurship could be for anybody, but you've got to have some kind of assets behind you. It's very, very tough to come from a spot in your life where you're having a really tough time financially and being able to launch a successful business, because it takes a lot of capital in order to launch a business.
That's one thing people don't quite understand is the financial backing it kind of takes to jumpstart.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, Kyle and I will meet with an entrepreneur. One of their first jobs that we'll assign is fix your credit. Spend 6 months, get your credit score up above 700, and then you can go and you can get capital for your business idea. But and I hate to say that because you think America, everybody's got also limited opportunity. The bottom line is you want to open a store, like you got to have some money to get a lease. You got to have money to buy equipment and inventory and that kind of stuff. So
exactly.
write your own personal financial ship first before you think about starting a business.
Yeah, that's why I wish schools would kind of focus on how important credit is and how important, like, the small things that they kind of just skip over, and they'd rather teach you, like, the circumference of a obtuse triangle or something.
I think more and more what we're starting to see from school districts everywhere is that they're starting to roll in some sort of entrepreneurial programs and training into their everyday curriculum. They may not outright tell students that they're going to school for entrepreneurship, but they may work it into a business class or some sort of financial class where they're training them that this is how you balance your checkbook, like those everyday type
big
things,
deal type things
that can help them out. And I'm sure Ken has worked with schools here. He's probably got some other
big shout out to the home ec teachers out there. I thought it was I thought it was a joke when I was in middle school. Yeah, you're baking cookies and you're doing a budget and all that stuff. And then as an adult, I'm like, that's like the most important class that your child takes.
You gotta learn how to do your laundry, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, we did this thing. We did this thing in my home ec class where I grew up in Michigan, and so the teacher figured out, okay, here's what welfare benefits pay in Michigan. and we had to budget to feed a family of 4 off of welfare. And we had to do that, and we had to provide like nutritious meals. Like I got in trouble because I was like, oh, we'll just get 40 pounds of bananas, you know. And like, everyone does eat, you know, 5
You got
pounds
your
of bananas.
potassium levels on point.
So I did not get an A on that segment, but no, I mean, like seriously, like home ec, this is the stuff that really, I mean, can set somebody up for success or failure. How well they do in home ec, seriously.
That's awesome. What would you say are some of the pros and cons of like starting your own business and being your own boss and being an entrepreneur?
Well, I'd definitely say the pros for sure is that
Is the things that everybody notices.
it's the things that everyone notices. You see the guy in the BMW or whatever that, you know, you can set your schedule. You can do those types of things. You can have the 4-hour work week per se. But some of the cons to that is a lot of those entrepreneurs are working 120, 130 hours a week. And those are the behind the scenes things that you don't see. And, you know, the lavish vacations and things like that are usually very needed by an entrepreneur at the time. That's why they save up that money and can do those things.
Yeah, I mean, I would say in addition to that, I would say just the fact there's unlimited upside, right? Like there's no limit on how much money you can make. If you've got a good product, I mean, you don't have, you're not working for a paycheck, you're not working for a salary. If you put in that 120 hours, if you hustle, you've got that hustle.
That's what it's a lot about.
Your compensation, your rewards are going to be directly linked to the effort that you put into it. And I think that's really appealing in addition to the setting your own schedule thing. But I mean, I don't want to overly glamorize this. I mean, it's hard work. I mean, don't when somebody says I work 120 hours, that's ridiculous. That is a lot of hours, you know.
I hate working regular 40 hours. So I can
Yeah, and I mean, and you know, Kyle and I, in our course of our work, we meet with entrepreneurs all the time. We talk to business owners, and yeah, it's not uncommon to be like, yeah, I didn't take vacation for the first 8 years that I ran my own business.
And you usually don't profit any money for like, the first 3?
Yeah, it depends on what business that you're in, but I mean there's standards, but 3 years, before they turn the corner. So that's a lot of ramen noodles.
If you want to struggle for 3 years, you know, like you said, you might have the unlimited upside, but putting in that work is going to be no joke to it. So a lot of people, when they start figuring out and researching a little bit about businesses and stuff like that, one of the first things that a lot of people talk to me about and I've seen is LLC. They kind of make a big deal depending on what your business is, or, you know, could you kind of break down what a LLC is?
Well, we'll try. Neither one of us are employment lawyers or accountants.
That was an immediate deferral.
I shifted suddenly to the left.
Not a tax guy.
LLC is a very popular. It's a type of business structure. Other business structures would be like a partnership or a sole proprietorship or a C corp or an S corp. LLCs seem to be the most popular. Everybody wants to do an LLC. And
why is that?
The LL in LLC stands for limited liability. And it's a way to essentially shelter your personal assets from your business. So if you open a sole proprietorship and let's say you default on your business loan, or God forbid somebody gets injured on premise and you get sued and you owe money, as a sole proprietor, your business is the same as your personal assets. So that means that if you need to pay back that bank loan or you need to pay off that injury settlement, all your personal assets are going to be liable to be seized or liquidated in order to make those payments. An LLC is a way of at least sheltering it from the latter aspects. If somebody gets injured or you get sued or something. An LLC will not protect you from a bank because a bank's going to require pretty much all your personal collateral, or at least enough personal collateral to satisfy the loan requirements. And whether you're an LLC or not, you're on the hook for the money.
Banks don't play when it comes to getting their money.
No, and why should they too? I mean, you're asking a bank to put their earnings, their capital on the line for your business, and you're not willing to put your own assets up there. Like that to me, like you're not serious as an entrepreneur if you're not willing to roll the dice and risk everything. Because I mean, really, that's to the heart of. I mean, that's what makes an entrepreneur. It's somebody who's got a risk profile that's willing to do that.
What did you say? You can't learn to fly if you don't jump off that cliff. cliff.
You got to jump off.
He said become an
There's wings
entrepreneur.
on the way down.
Yeah, it's learning to build an airplane while free falling off that cliff you just jumped off of. That's awesome. Especially now with, before we even rolled, we were talking about the whole tech industry and how it's slowly taken over a lot of smaller jobs and different jobs like that. With the internet booming so much and is Amazon and everything, you can just buy so much stuff online. Do you feel like having a whole brick and mortar kind of shop, is that going to be a thing of the past? Does it even matter anymore?
I think that there's always going to be those people who are 50-50 on it, because I'm one of those people. I have those certain things that I physically, in my mind, have to go to the store, buy, purchase, and take home with me. And then there's those other things where I can go online and I don't have to go into the cell phone store and have my phone that same day. I can put in an order on Amazon, wait my couple days, and get it that way.
More and more, I'm learning, like, I just want to buy everything online. Like,
Yeah.
there's less and less stuff that I could care about leaving the house and going to get.
Oh, man.
I'm gonna be like one of those guys that just orders like their grocery list and everything on Amazon.
Yeah,
Like, it's bad.
I mean, definitely the online sales. I mean, if you look statistically, every year online sales comprise more and more of total retail consumption in this country. I mean, that's just a fact. I think it's around like 10% right now. So still not, massively huge. But I think the way the future is definitely buying things online. I think we need to adapt as communities. Certainly with the idea of like a lot of our revenues being generated by sales taxes. That's a big problem. That's a big problem with online purchases. But no, I mean, it's bricks and mortar. You're always going to need bricks and mortar for services. So if you've got a company where you repair cars, or you give haircuts, or you do taxes, or you do whatever, you can't get services online. I can't go to Amazon and get a haircut, even though it may look like I do that.
Not yet.
Not yet, at least. And the other thing is like social interaction. Like, as human beings, we like to congregate in the same places as other human beings. So you're always going to have movie theaters. You're always going to have bars. You're always going to have nightclubs and stuff like that. So, I think that you're always going to have some kind of brick and mortar retail presence in a community, but a lot more of like the specialty type goods. Your vinyl records. And
It's gonna be fewer and far between.
Your phone, your cell phones, the stuff that that people are more picky about. I think that's one of the biggest drivers of online sales is. Like, if I have some weird, obscure thing that I want, I'm not going to spend my time driving 3 cities looking for it when I know I can find it online. So I mean, that's just the rule is just don't try to fight history. Like, if humanity is kind of like going in one direction. Like, try not to swim upstream against. I mix my metaphors, but you know what I'm saying. Like, don't fight history. Don't try.
Especially like with people our age are getting older, and it's going to become more of a norm where everybody grew up and there was internet. Like, there's going to be a time where internet was always a thing in people's lives.
It's gonna be that one of those like markers in history, like pre or before electricity or before. No, seriously,
it legit is.
And it's interesting because like our generation, I mean, I think we're all roughly the same age sitting here at the table. I mean, I think we all kind of remember what it was like before and remember what it was like after. And that's gonna be weird as we're gonna be that one generation that really straddles
the beginting time of the internet was the weirdest.
This is what I used to have to do.
Baby, get off the phone, Mom. Yeah, the internet was weird, and now it's so fast and so easy, and it's making everything so convenient.
Making the world smaller too.
Yeah, definitely.
Talk to anybody in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. But staying on kind of the brick and mortar thing, you can't really buy well, I guess you could probably buy fast food online. There's probably like a way to call like an Uber and have them like go pick something up. But I want to talk about like franchising and franchises. Do you think they're worth the investment? Is that a good way to become an entrepreneur, your own boss, start a...
That's probably more of a personal preference for the entrepreneur who's looking to do that. If you have the capital that can take over a franchise, I mean, it's a built-in business plan there. That franchise is selling their model, and that's what you're buying, and the hopes are that you're going to keep returning the profits that they're selling to you.
I would say it depends on the franchise too. I mean, there's a lot of I mean, everybody with a reasonably successful local business eventually wants to franchise it, right? I mean, and so you have to, the trick to being successful with a franchise is finding one that's got a reasonable franchise fee, which is, of course, the cost to buy the name. And
I've seen some of them are ridiculous in some of those magazines.
Oh, some of them, yeah. Some of them
like,
can be extremely expensive. But the trick is to find one that's expanding nationwide, that's fees are low. It's kind of like a lot of companies, they may price their franchises low in order to build market share and get more locations around the country. And so the trick is to buy low and sell high on those, almost like anything else. But they're good options for people that I mentioned early on. You got to know your product. Well, what if you want to be an entrepreneur and you're not good at repairing cars, or you're not a barber, or you haven't invented something? You want to be an entrepreneur, but you don't really know what to do. A franchise is kind of like a buy a business in a box. Kind of thing,
that's what it's kind of like, almost the easiest kind of go to. If you don't really have an idea of any sorts. What do you think is going to be like the next big boom? We were talking about the internet boom, the whole. What do you kind of think is do you see? Because I know you probably deal with a lot of different stuff, and you kind of see a lot of different patterns of smaller businesses doing certain things, or people trying to open up certain things. What do you feel? If you had to make a prediction, we'll watch this back 10 years from now. We'll see who's right.
Yeah.
Who is going to be right? What do you feel is the next big boom?
I'll start, and I'll be generous and give Kyle some extra time to think on this. I think digital applications are going to be huge. Video games, digital entertainment is huge. VR is coming out. That's going to be really
that's going to be
big.
one of mine. I think that the whole digital entertainment VR, it's going to get smaller and smaller, more convenient. I don't know if you've ever seen that Microsoft HoloLens.
Mm-mm.
It's pretty much like a VR headset that doesn't need to hook up to anything. Has its own computer system in the band. It does VR, like virtual reality and augmented reality. I just think those machines are going to get smaller until they're the size of your glasses. And
That's I think is a pretty safe bet. I mean, particularly when you think that with virtual reality, a lot of the experiential type things that people spend money on, roller coasters, movies, concerts, I mean, you name it.
Yeah, I watched a VR concert with my Samsung.
Was it cool?
Yeah, it was legit. It was,
Yeah.
Been skydiving, swimming with sharks, like all sorts of weird stuff.
So I think that's an opportunity. I'm not like an eco warrior or anything, but I definitely think like alternative energy is still a lot of growth. If you look at the cost of solar, that's just cranking down. I
think Tesla's gonna be a huge mark in like a history book of we're in a bad direction, and he brought us back into like.
Well, I think them buying that big the NUMMI factory out in Glendale was huge. That was an old GM factory. It's that sort of like Tesla kind of planting a flag in the automotive industry, like buying this old factory and being like, we're gonna do some awesome stuff.
He has the big house batteries too. He's like trying to get into.
What are Powerwalls?
I think I couldn't remember the name. I'll post right here if you're watching this on YouTube. I want to say it is Powerwall though, but
yeah. I think kind of continuing on that same Tesla notion. I think that getting a little bit out there is going to be the technology to take us to places and colonize other planets, like those types of things. We're going to keep developing that type of technology. We have data centers that are opening up hand over fist across the world, and that's to get the information faster to people. The fiber is only going to get better across the country and the world. And as the world gets smaller, we're going to have smarter and smarter people talking to each other on a daily basis, and that's only going to lead to revolutionary things for the future.
So tech is going to be a big deal. I take it from the two people that know what they're talking about. I just like to kind of act like I know what I'm talking about.
The future will be won by coders.
Absolutely.
I went to school for the wrong thing. Speaking of, you're talking about people like that would have ideas or inventions and stuff like that. What is the first step to take if you feel you have an idea or an invention that's not out and it's brand new and it's something that could make money, and you find a way to sell it? What would be the first step that you feel like you have to get it done?
I would say, and I'd say this for almost any business, first step should be talk to your lawyer, talk to an accountant. Particularly if you got an invention, talk to a lawyer, start working on a patent filing on it, because intellectual property these days is absolutely brutal, and that's one of those dark side effects of the internet. Is like you can have the most innocuous niche product out there, and somebody's going to copy it and rip it off. I spent 9 years in the Bloomington-Normal area. We had this guy that had this awesome invention. It was a storage device for gun safes. And just one day he just noticed that there's like a bunch of Chinese knockoffs flooding Amazon, and they were writing a bunch of like negative reviews of his legitimate product. And I mean, this guy spent years fighting this. And I mean, here's a guy that spent his own money, family-owned business, developed this invention, had the patents on it, and then he just got completely boned by these. By these counterfeiters. And so, yeah, I mean, having a good patent, having a good lawyer is absolutely invaluable. Yeah, it costs a little money. It's one of the things I was talking about. You got to have some means if you're going to start a business. But, man, spend the money and talk to a lawyer. Spend the money and talk to an accountant. It's going to save you tons of heartache down the road.
So just piggyback on that?
Absolutely.
Besides accountants and lawyers, what are some of the other tools that could help catapult somebody into becoming their own boss?
Well, I would definitely personally recommend they look into their local economic development organization. Hopefully they have a public partnership with their cities or their municipalities and things like that. They can offer resources like Ken and I here in the Galesburg community. Short of that, you can definitely reach out to us if you're not in the area.
Yeah, we'll help anybody out, even if they're outside of our area. Yeah, call your local economic developers. I mean, we're nonprofit guys. We don't make any money. We want you to make money, but we're really organizations like ours are really good at helping identify resources. There's other groups out there. One that everybody should be aware of is called SCORE. SCORE is an acronym. It's a volunteer organization. It's made up of retired executives, people that were high positions in their fields, some of them entrepreneurs. They volunteer their time to work with young entrepreneurs.
Awesome.
And they provide free advisement. It's totally free. You can just check them out. Go to score.org.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll put the link down in the description.
Yeah. They're a great group. And then there's also a network of centers in the United States called the Small Business Development Centers. And those are typically partnering up with a university. And that's another organization that's funded by the U.S. Small Business Administration. And they provide advisement. They'll help you write a business plan. They'll help you write a marketing plan. And again, it's a free resource, and not a lot of people know those things are out there. But every community has some kind of assistance available to it, and so call your local economic development group or call us. We'll help you find them.
Sweet. Thanks, guys. I mean, this has been very informational to me, and hopefully to everybody else that's been watching this. What are some of the events that you guys got going on? What are some of the? Because I know you did a few seminars.
Yeah, October 28th coming up.
Yeah, on October 28th, our friends at First Mid-Illinois Bank and Trust are having what they're calling a business resource luncheon, where some of those resources I just mentioned, and a whole other group of them, particularly on ones that help provide financing for businesses. Basically, we're getting everybody in a room together and making a presentation just to kind of tell people what's out there, what's available. And so
nice.
That's going to be on Friday, October 28th at 11 a.m. at the Kensington Ballroom here in Galesburg. If you want to RSVP for that, you need to call Linda Murphy, and her number is 309-343-9181.
I'll
that's
throw all that up here.
Yeah. Well,
explosions.
Right. It's right there.
Please don't do that. I'm not that great at editing. It'll be somewhere.
So that's coming up, and then Kyle, do you want to talk about Caffeinate?
Yep, I do have the second Caffeinate community event coming up. That's going to be November 1st from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. We've invited the Hancock County CEO program over to G&M Distributors on Linwood Road here in Galesburg, Illinois, partnered up with the Chamber of Commerce and the Galesburg Community Foundation.
Nice.
And we're hoping these kids come in and they're going to tell us about how entrepreneurship has influenced their communities and making them want to come back to their communities after they go to college or start a business and come back that way.
You got 10 seconds to talk a little bit about the CEO program.
The CEO program is creating entrepreneurial opportunities is what it stands for, and what they do is they actually train a facilitator to come in, and they have these they have an application process where a number of students in the community can apply, and they take high school age kids and they basically walk them through 1 year's worth of entrepreneurship training where they are legitimately starting their business and they're operating their business throughout the course. So any of the money that they make during the time that they're in school is their money.
That's awesome.
I love that.
And they basically have that safety net of that facilitator that's there, that's got multiple resources behind them from community leaders and other business owners and things like
Man.
that from their community that can chip in and be like, hey, this is how we've overcame these hurdles in my business. Maybe you should try something like that. So you're really casting a good environment for these kids.
Oh
to learn
yeah, I
how to
wish I
grow.
had something like that when I was in school. Jeez.
Yeah, well, part of that, it's a great program. CEO program is a fantastic program, but part of it is to treat entrepreneurship as a legitimate career opportunity for high school students, right? It's like, oh, you should go learn a trade, or oh, you should go to college. It's like, well, what if you started your own business? Like, we don't really tell our kids that.
Exactly.
And so this program is designed to really open their eyes and let them understand that there are great opportunities for them if they want to start their own business.
That is awesome, man. Thank you guys again for having me over here and spreading some of this seeds of knowledge around.
Our pleasure, man. Anytime,
Loved it.
come back.
If you're listening to this on SoundCloud, check it out on YouTube. We're going to have the whole video up. Links of everything they've talked about in the descriptions below. If you're watching this on YouTube, check it out on SoundCloud. If you don't have time, we're going to be on SoundCloud. I got Instagram, Facebook, everything. I'll be promoting the crap out of this video to try to help everybody that wants to become their own boss. Here's a few tips and a few guys that you could talk to try to make that dream come true. Thanks again, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for more. Anything. Let me know the topics you want. Once again, this has been your Drunk Host Podcast. Peace!